Okay, so today we're going to talk about chapter 3, which deals with CSS and how you can use CSS to format your content on your web page or website. So, I think I mentioned this in class, but one of the main reasons, or one of the things that makes CSS so cool, is that you can tell your CSS code in or stylings in one separate file, make the changes in that one file, and the changes automatically cascade down to the other web pages in the website. And so instead of actually our web designer having to go and change the same element on multiple pages, you can just change that element on one page in one file, and it automatically updates everything throughout the whole entire website. So that what makes it really cool. So in our last video, we made a file, or we made a file called chapter2.html. So today we're going to take that file, we're going to add some CSS to it. Let's see, yeah, if you were not with us for our chapter 2 video, I do have those files, or that file, in under D2L in the content section, and it's under chapter 2, and I think it's in a module called files from lecture video. So let me go ahead and go to D2L real quick so I can get that file. My CCTC. Go to my faculty tab, faculty and staff, D2L. And you guys should probably go to student for yours. Okay, go to the course. Contents. Yeah. So since I was on chapter 2 before, or recently, or previously, it came up under chapter 2 already. So down here, you'll see files from lecture video under chapter 2. Alright. So when I click on files from lecture, it gives me the two files that we dealt with in the video. It says chapter 2 and HTML file document. Now we're going to download the chapter 2 file. So with this one, you have to download it, and like I said, it downloads a little differently, or download really weird. So this is the page that we worked on, right? Should look familiar, and we're going to download it. It's going to download itself, and when it downloads, it saves it as a zip file or a compressed folder, and we have to extract the HTML file from that folder so we can actually get to it. So down here at the bottom, I'm going to hit save. Okay, I'm going to click on save so I can save it to my computer or to your flash drive. Okay, so it's saved to my computer. I believe it's under downloads on my computer. It may be someplace different on your computer. So I'm going to click on open folder so I can go directly to it. Yeah, and here it is right here at the top for mine. This is chapter2.html, and you notice it has a little folder with the zipper on it. That means that it's a zip file. So what you have to do is you're going to have to double click on that folder, on that file, and here it actually gives you your HTML file that we need to get so we can actually edit it and put the CSS on it. So with your chapter 2 selected, you're going to come up here to the top, and you're going to extract that file. So I have all the good stuff, and you're going to click on extract all right here. Right. And when you get this window, all you have to do is click on extract. Now if you have a flash drive You can actually come to the browse button and actually change it to your flash drive. But here on my computer, here in my office, I'm going to keep it inside the downloads folder. Okay, so I'm going to click on extract here. All right, and there I have my file. Okay, and see it comes up over there on the side. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up this file here in Notepad. So I'm going to right click on mine. Okay, and I'm going to go down to open with, and you notice I have the option down there already for Notepad. Now you may have to go and tell it to choose another app so you can actually get it to open up a Notepad. So if those of you who have to go and choose another app, you can click on choose another app, and you're going to scroll down here, right, and you may see Notepad inside of it. If you don't, you have to click on more apps, and it'll give you a whole list of apps that you can open it up with. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Notepad. I'm going to click on OK, and there I have my Notepad. I have all of my code right here in Notepad. Right. So when dealing with CSS, you actually have three ways you can do this. You have, I take that back, you have actually have four. You can either do what they call inline HTML, which allows you to actually go inside of the tag and add the style directly to the tag. Or you can do what they call embedded HTML, which allows you to go up to the head section and put your CSS style inside the head section. You can also do what they call an external CSS file, which is a separate file that has all your CSS in it, and you basically just link that file to your web page. And that's what a lot of web developers do. They'll just have that one file and then just link it to the whole entire website. Another you can do is also you can do import it. You can actually import it from another location, so you can actually so the website can actually use that file. Okay, so here we have our template. We have a file from last time. Now we want to actually add some text to. We're going to add some formatting to it. So let's see what we can do here. So in your book, the first thing it talks about is actually changing the color. And then I'm actually going to today we're going to do what they call an embedded style sheet. So the first thing we have to do is we're inside of the head tag. Okay, this goes in the style sheet goes in between the head tag. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put a space here. And when you're doing an embedded style sheet, you have to use the style tag. And so the web browser will know that what you're about to put here is CSS. So I'm going to go ahead, put my style tag here. I'm going to go ahead and close it out as well. Okay, cool. Alright, now in between our style tag, this is where we can put our CSS style. Alright, now in your book, on page 83 in your book, it breaks down the elements of a CSS style statement, or a CSS style rule. Sometimes you'll hear it called. Alright, so basically you have what they call the selector, and the selector is the tag. It's the name of the tag that you're going to apply the style to. So in your book, they have the selector as body. So, and it's going to apply it to any content that's inside of the body tag. That's why they have the selector as the body. So with CSS, you type in your selector. Okay, and after you type in your selector, you have to use your curly braces. Right, and it really doesn't matter where you put your curly braces. Like I like to have mine right here. I have my first one right after the body or the selector, you can also just hit enter and actually put it right underneath as well. And it doesn't matter where it is as long as it's in there. Right. So you have a body tag. So we have the body tag. We have a selector. Now inside of our curly braces, this is where we can actually declare what we want to do. Okay. So in your book, it says color. Now, one thing you have to understand is the color does not talk about the actual background color. Anytime you see color, it deals with the text color or the font color. So I'm going to type in my declaration. So I want the color, and once you do your declaration, you have to put a colon. Right. So the colon is equal to the equal sign, like we were doing before. We were doing the attributes, and we had to assign our value to the attributes. This is the equivalent to that equal sign. Right. So we have a colon, a colon, and right after the colon, this is where we'll put the value or the declaration value. And in your book, it says, I think it has blue. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in my blue value. Now, industry standard, okay, is that when you finish a line of code, style code for CSS, that you put a semicolon right afterwards. All right. Now it still will work if you do not have that semicolon, but because we want to stay with some of the conventions of the industry, I'm going to go ahead and put a semicolon right after each one of my statements. Okay, so I have blue. So if we were to save this and bring it up into Internet Explorer, it's going to we should have all the text should be blue. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to save this, and I'm going to call this chapter 3. Just save as. Right. Now remember in Notepad, and this is the only place you have to do this. In order for you to actually put the HTML file extension in there, and for a Notepad to not give you that .txt file extension, you have to change this save as type to all files. Okay. Now here, once you have your all files, I'm gonna change this to chapter 3.html. Okay. I'm going to save this. So there, at the top you see I have my chapter 3 file. I have it saved. Now I'm going to split my screen up so I can have my code on one side and my Internet Explorer on one side. And you can do this too if you want at home. Yeah, so I still had Internet Explorer open from when I downloaded it from D2L. So I'm going to open up a brand new tab up here at the top. Open a brand new tab. And just like we did in class, you're going to go to the file tab, go to the file menu, click on open. Like I said, it's the exact same process you'll do for Microsoft Word. So go to browse. Let me go to my folder. Should have been, yeah, chapter 2.html folder. And there you go. I have my chapter 3 file right there. So we'll click on OK or open. Click OK. And there. I have my file. See, I now have my text color is now blue. Okay. So that's dealing with the text color. Now, with the background color actually changes the background to be whatever color you want it to be. So right now we have a text color blue. Now the property that you want to use, or that you want to use for the background color, is called background color. Keep it simple enough, right? So the property is background dash color. And I'm going to do my equal sign or my semicolon or my colon, and I'm going to let's make the color. Let's make the color yellow. Yeah, let's make it yellow. Why not? Okay. Now, what I should have, if I were to save my file now and load it and refresh it in an Explorer, my background should now be yellow. So let's do that right now. So my background color yellow. Yep. Then we go save it, and I'm gonna come back over here to Internet Explorer. Now I'm going to refresh it. Aha, there you go. So now I have my background color as yellow. Okay, yeah, so thinking here, I'm thinking. Okay, so now we dealt with the text color as well as the background color. Now, one of the main things a lot of people want to do is want to start dealing with the text. Like it's making the text larger, making it smaller, changing the color of it, changing the font style of it, so forth. And we can do that right now. In your book, you have on page 85 in table 3.1, it actually talks about shows you some of the different properties that you can use in CSS that allows you to format the text in there. Right, so let's start with our title of our CSS up here at the top, or CCTC tag up here at the top. So right now we have this H3 tag. Okay. Now, because we want to change this H3 tag right here, and we want to change it, we're going to come up here back to our style sheet, and we're going to add the selector H3 because that is the tag we're going to associate the style with. So I have my H3 selector here. I'm going to put in my curly braces. Right. And let's change the font size. Let's make the font size bigger, and let's change the actual font style. Okay, change the actual font. So the first thing to change the font style, you have to use the property called font dash size. All right. Now with CSS, you can either put the number for the size. You can either put it by in point, like you have Microsoft Word, like 12 point, 14 point, stuff like that. You can also use it by pixel. You can do it by percentages, and you can also do it by what they call M or EM, and that's a measurement that they use a lot in printing, in printing documents and printing text and stuff. So we're going to use points in this one. All right, so let's try. Right now, it's at H3. H3 is about the equivalent of like maybe 12 point, 12, 14 point. So we make this a little bit bigger. Let's try 28 point. Yeah, let's try 28 point. 28 PT by semicolon. Okay. Right, now he's mentioned that we're going to change the actual font of it. Now, this is what they call font family, or the property that it uses font. It's called font family. And what it does, you'll notice in your book, it sometimes can have like a list, like maybe 3 or more font names right after the font family. That's because you may use a particular font for your web page or your website that the user's computer may not have. So you put in first, you put the recommended font that you want to use, and you also have backup fonts that the website can use if that particular font is not available in this particular on the local computer or the user's computer. So I'm going to say my colon, and let's do Arial. Yeah. And we have, because these are nouns and they are the name of fonts, you have to use the actual name. They have to be all capitalized, just like the just how it is in Microsoft Word. Also, if you have a font that you're going to use that has more than one word in it, like for example Times New Roman, it has to be in the whole entire title, has to be inside of quotation marks. So I want to put Times New Roman, oops, and a semicolon, and I can put, and you can put whatever you want and whatever other font you want. Now in your book, let's see, it's on page, still looking in at table 3.1, under where it says font family. It actually tells you, gives you font family like fantasy, cursive, and so forth. And basically, what it does, it actually has preset fonts on your computer that may match that particular style. So you can actually put cursive in there, and it'll go search for the files or the fonts that are on your computer that match that style. So let's add one more. Let's add uh, sans serif. The sans serif, this is a type of file. Oops. Let me close it out. So let me go ahead. Okay, yes, doing it. Okay. So sans serif. Let's see. Okay. So we have that in there. So now, when we save this, and we come back over here to Internet Explorer, and we do our refresh, there. Now you can see our text is bigger, and it now uses the Arial font. It uses Arial because that's the very first font we told it to use. Now, in that table, that 3.1 table, let's type in, instead of let's change the Arial. Let's change that to fantasy, and let's see what it gives us. See what kind of font. Okay, so it's going to, on your computer, it has the fonts that are in this category, and it's just saying, okay, I want a fantasy font. Don't matter, just pick a fantasy font that's on my computer and use it. Okay, so you want, so it's easier, or it's common and recommended that you use the actual name of the font, because if you do this, then you have no idea what type of font you're getting and what the font is going to be, right? So let's say, for labs, okay, just for example. So I changed Arial that I had here, I changed it to fantasy, and let's see what font it gives us. And like I said, depending on what computer you're using, your font may be a little bit may be different from what mine is on my computer. So I got my change to fantasy. So I changed Arial to fantasy. I'm gonna hit save and reload. Okay, see, okay, so I said fantasy, and it gave me this. I cannot tell you. I'm trying to think offhand what kind of font, what font that may be. Yeah, because it's not Times New Roman. It's something. It's something else. It's like a variation maybe of Times New Roman, something like that. All right. So let's try cursive. Sure. Oops. I'm gonna come back over here and I'm gonna change my fantasy. I'm gonna change that to cursive. All right. So I changed my fantasy to cursive. Now I want to see what font it gives me for cursive. So yeah, your computer has a cursive category, and no matter whatever, it's going to give you whatever font that your computer may have under cursive. Okay, so see, it gave me this. So it's look as a variation of the other one. So it doesn't look too different or too much of a difference. Um, let me see here, and also too, because I'm using Internet Explorer, some browsers as well may not recognize certain properties or certain values. So if I were to open this up in maybe Google Chrome or Firefox, my cursive may look a little different, and yours may be as well. So sometimes it also depends on the browser you're using. So I'm gonna go ahead and change this cursor back. I'm gonna change this back to Arial because Arial, I know Arial. She's cool people. All right, Arial. Okay. Trying to think what else we can do. Um, okay. Okay. Yeah. So like we mentioned in class, uh, actually I take that back. Yep. So we mentioned in class. I don't think we mentioned it. I don't know if we mentioned it or not, but because we can actually add a selector. With our selector, we can actually it apply to all of the all the content in the page that has that particular selector. So here you have H4 tag for college events. You also have H4 tag for college degrees and programs. So if I were to come up here inside of my style tag and made a selector H4, anything that I put here is going to apply to all H4 tags that's on that page. Okay, so with our H4 tag, let's let's put let's change the color of it, the color of the text in there, as well as let's put a background on it. Right, so we can actually put a background, and it makes it look like it's a nice little box that's going across, right behind the actual text itself. So let's say color, uh, and let's make it red, sure. And we said we're gonna do a background color, and let's make the background color. I want to say pink. Let's make it pink. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Now, when you're dealing with colors, and then your book also mentions that you want to use what they call web safe colors, um, because you may tell it, for example, it may say pink, but the pink on your screen may look different to what pink looks like on another screen. So you want to use colors that are universal and that show up on everybody's computer and monitor the same way. Now you can use a couple of ways you can actually verify that you can actually give CSS for colors. You can either tell it the name of the color, which we're doing right now. You can also do what they call give it the hexadecimal code, which is a six digit or six character code that you can put in there, and it'll pick up the that color from the from from a little table. Yeah, in your page, we're talking about hexadecimal. If you go to page 86 in your book in figure 3.5, it actually gives you a hexadecimal color chart. And it tells you how what web safe colors they are and how the actual hexadecimal actually works. You can also use also use the RGB coloring. So if you guys are familiar with like Photoshop, Illustrator, all the programs like that, you can actually tell it to darken or lighten based on the RGB color. All right. So we have a color, we have a red, and we're going to have a background color of it be pink. All right. So let's see what we got here. I'm gonna save it, and I'm going to come back over here to my Internet Explorer. I'm gonna refresh it. That actually came out better than I thought it was gonna do. Yeah. So now you see it changed the color red, and it changed. Also put the background color on it. Now, one thing I want to point out. You remember up here at the top in the body tag, we told it. We told it to actually make the text color blue. So, but we came down here and said no. Okay, yes, we know it's on the body. Anything in the body is going to be blue, but for this particular tag, we want it to be this color, and that's because it actually goes through. It actually reads it from top to bottom. So it goes through and actually reads each section one at a time. The browser does. So because the H4 tag was the very last one, the color change it got to, that's the change it. That's the color that we got here on the screen. All right. So let's say, so we have a paragraph here. Let's change let's make our paragraph double spaced. Yeah. So we're going to change it. Let's do that. Yeah. So because my H4 tag is low on my HTML, it's below my paragraph tag, I'm going to actually come here in my style sheet, and I'm going to put my P tag right in between my H4 and my H3 because my P tag comes before my H4 tag in my HTML down at the bottom. So I'm gonna put my P tag, my P selector, put my curly braces, and we want to say we want to make it double. We want to make it look like it's double spaced. So when we can do that, they have a property called line height. Okay, you can and this allows you basically it changes the spacing between each line. Right, so you do line dash height. Now I think that may be wrong. Yeah, one of the reasons why I allow you guys to actually do open book is because there's so many properties that they have for CSS that it's really hard sometimes to remember all of them. So it's a line height. Let's make the line height, and you can do this in points and decimals as well. Let's make 14 point. See if it allows us to do point. If not, then we'll come back and do decimals. I mean, or pixels. We'll come back and do pixels. All right. So we got the paragraph, line height. I will do save, and what we're thinking is going to do, what it should do is going to double space or give the illusion that this paragraph here is double spaced. Okay. So I'm going to save my file. Then it moved it, but not too much. So it did move a little bit, but not a little space in between it, not much. Okay, so since 14 point didn't work, let's go crazy and go something like 72. Let's do 72 point. Yeah, let's do 72. Yeah. So let's do 72 points so we can actually see the change actually happening. So that's 72. I'm going to save. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, so see now you can actually see the line the space in between. Alright. So that's not necessarily that's looks like. It's definitely not triple, it's still larger than triple space. Maybe like a 4 or 5 inch space. Right, so to get it closer to double spacing, let's change it to 28. Yeah, so let's change. So before we had this our line height as 72 point. Let's change it to 28 point so you can actually get closer to the illusion that it is double spaced. So I change it to 28. Do save, refresh. Okay, and that's pretty close. Yeah, that's pretty close. Yeah, that's actually pretty close. So yeah, we take that. All right. Okay, so now since we're doing a double spacing thing, let's see if we can actually give it the effect that we had that first line indentation or the uh, the MLA format type thing. So you hit your tab key for the first line and you do everything else. So they have the property that they have to do that's called what they call text indent. And with the text indent, you can't use the point value. You have to actually use pixels, um, or you can actually use the EM. So we're going to use pixels today. So it's text dash indent. Yep. And let's make the indentation, let's say 20 pixels. Let's give it 20 pixels. And this right here applies just to the first line of the paragraph. So since like I said, we're still dealing with that paragraph tag, we have a double space using the line width, the line height, and we're going to try to do the tab effect or the first line indentation effect using the text indent property, and we're going to try to do that 20 pixels. So let's see what it looks like. Okay, so see, it gave it, so it did indent it. It gave it, a little bit of indent, but it's not quite the half-inch indent that we're used to. So if you want to make it bigger, we can just change the value of it, and you'll see that's basically all you do, and you just change the value of it, and then it applies it to the sheet. So just imagine if you have a website that has hundreds of hundreds of text in there or paragraph tags. All right, and you want to change the text indentation for your paragraphs. All you have to do is just come to your CSS style sheet, change one number, and then it automatically applies it to all of the web pages that are on that website. So like I said, much makes it very, very simple. And so let's change. So we have 20. I'm gonna try 100. That's what we get for 100. Okay, and that's actually a little too far over. Yeah. So it's not necessarily 100. Maybe because I'm trying to see if we can get it like right here, this area. So maybe 50 pixels. let's try that. So I had it at 100, the text intent. I had it at 100, and I changed it to 50, so we can see if we can get it to move back over to the left. And I'm trying to get it, like I said, about right here. Let's see. Yeah, and that's closer to like a half inch. Yeah. So that looks pretty good. Okay, so now it looks like we're actually writing a paper or something. Okay, so yeah, we can take that. Yeah. So we talked about text indent, line height. Let's try and do some alignment. Okay, so I'm looking at, and we may be able to kill two birds with one stone. Okay, so here you notice we have two H4 tags. So we had an H4 tag here, and we have an H tag 4 here. Okay, so we talked about, we actually played with divs in class for chapter 2. And remember, we assigned a ID or a name to each div, so we can actually tell the difference between the two. Now I'm going to assign an ID to the div tag for events and the div tag for degree programs. Okay, so I'm gonna come down here to the bottom where my CSS is, and right here for my right here, yeah. So right here, I'm going to add a ID to this H4 tag that has the college events on it. Okay, so the ID, and I'll call this equals. This is an attribute, and we are assigning a value to the attribute, so it has to be placed in quotation marks. And let's call this events. Okay, and what this will allow us to do is we can go back up into the CSS and apply a style to this particular section or this particular tag without having to, and it'll be just for itself. So it will refer to it as events up in the CSS. So we can apply it just to this H4 tag and not the other H4 tag, which is down here. Okay, because remember before we told the H4 tags to be red and the background pink. That applied to both of the H4 tags that are in our HTML. But if we want to separate them, then we'll have to add or apply IDs to each H4 tag. Okay, so I got my ID for my college events H4 tag, and now I'm going to come down here to my college degree program H4 tag, and I'm going to give it the ID, and I'm going to call it programs. Okay. Okay, so I got now I have my H4 tags separated by using IDs. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to, with college events, let's align the title to the right. So we're going to move this title over to the right here. We're going to put it right here. And for our H3 tag, we're going to, let's see, we may add a text let's see, yeah, let's add maybe a transition or transformation or something to it. Yeah, I've been thinking about it for a few minutes. Let's see. Okay, so now let's go back. So now let's move our college events tab or college events title. Let's move that one over to the right. Okay, so remember we called this ID, we called it events. So we're going to come up to our CSS tag up here, on my our CSS style sheet up here. Let me actually pull this up. Okay. Now, because we're using an ID, in order we have to link the we have to link the name of the ID in the style sheet using the hashtag or the pound sign, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to put in the pound sign and events. The name of the ID is going to be my selector. So my selector, my events is my selector, and now in between my curly braces, I can type in or I can put in the styles that I want. So we said that we're going to align the events, college events title over to the right. Okay, so to align text to the right, we're going to use the text align property. Okay, so text align, and then we're going to type in, move it to the right. Okay, yeah. Okay, so line to the right. Now, so if we were to save our file here, load it into Internet Explorer, we events should not be moved over to the right. So I just saved it. I am going to, there it is, ha ha ha. Yeah, so it moved over to the right. Let's see what else. Yes. So in chapter 2, I know what we can do with degree programs. So in chapter 2, we talked about hyperlinks, okay, and how you can actually click on a link and actually have it go to another area. What we're going to, go to another area or go to another website. What we're going to do, we're going to use the text decoration property, and we're going to turn our title here, college degree programs, into a hyperlink, but we're going to use text decoration to take the underline from off of the hyperlink. Okay. So first thing we need to do is we need to go and get the address for our degree programs from the Central Carolina website. Okay. So let me go to the Central Carolina website really quickly. So I'm going to open up a brand new tab here. Yeah, I'm going to click on, I can do CCTC right here. Let's see. Just CT tab. Okay. And I believe it is under academics. Yes. So going to the Central Carolina website, the main website, I'm going to go to diplomas, degrees, and certificates. Oh, there it is. And we are going to link this page back to our web page, or our web page that we're making using the title. I think it was, what was it called? Uh, College degree programs. Okay. So to do this, just remember I came here and I'm going to copy my address here, so I have it when I go to make my hyperlink. Okay. So I'm going to scroll down here to the bottom, and remember a hyperlink actually has, here it is. Yeah. So a hyperlink actually has two parts to it. Remember. So you have, I'm going to put it inside over here. So right here, in between the ending of my H4 tag and the beginning of college and college degree programs, this is where I'm going to put my anchor tag. Okay. So remember, with the anchor tag, we have opening anchor bracket A for anchor, href or hyperlink reference. And remember, this is where, after you do the href, this is where you put the name or the website link or address that you want your website to link to. Okay. So in quotation marks, after my equal sign, I'm going to paste in the address that I copied from the Central Carolina website that deals with our diplomas, degrees, certificates. Okay. So I'm going to paste it in right here. Nice. Okay. So I have my address in here. Okay. Now, remember, once you have finished putting in your address, after the quotation mark, the very last quotation mark, right here, you're going to put in your closing angle bracket. Now, this part is finishes. This is the end of the part one of the tag, or the first part of the anchor tag. Okay. Now remember the second part of the anchor tag, it actually gives you or tells you the text that you want the person to see when they click on the link. And so this right here, you're going to keep college degree programs text, because this is the text that we want everybody to see and that they can click on to where they'll know exactly where it's going to go. Okay, so I'm going to, so after the college degree programs, after the S in programs, this is where I'm going to put my closing anchor bracket or anchor tag. Okay, so dash A, let's put that down at the bottom. Let me separate that. Okay, yeah. So that's the ending. So that's my anchor tag or my hyperlink for my second H4 title. So I have then my A, my href, and I make it equal, and I made it equal to the website address for our college degrees here at Central Carolina. Okay, and for the text that I want people to see when they click on it, I kept the college degree programs text that we had there before. And I close it, and I close out my anchor tag. Okay, so that finishes the HTML part for this. Now, I mentioned a few minutes ago that we're going to apply the text decoration properly to this hyperlink. And what it's going to do by default, when you do a hyperlink, it automatically has an underline on it, or underline under it. We're going to get rid of that underline. Okay, so first, before we do our text decoration, let's save our chapter 3 file. And I'm going to close out this tab since I do not need it anymore. And I am going to refresh my chapter 2, my chapter 3 page, or chapter 2 page. And I'm going to hit refresh. Okay, now you notice down here at the bottom, this is my hyperlink. Okay, and you see it has an underline under it. Well, we are going to use the CSS property of text decoration to get rid of that underline. Okay, so let's try and see, shall we? So we're going to come up here to the top, all the way up here to the top to our style section here. Keys. Alright. And I'm going to do my hashtag or my pound sign. And I'm going to use my ID called program. What's a program or programs? Programs with an S. Programs with an S. Put in my curly braces. And we are going to use the text decoration property, and we're going to set that property to none. So it's going to get rid of the underline. So we'll do text decoration, and I'm going to put the value as none. Okay. Okay, now that we have our text decoration link in there or style in there, let me go ahead and hit save. And I'm going to come back over here to my Internet Explorer. I'm going to save or refresh. What did you do? Events, programs, yes. Let me see, did I not save it? Okay. Maybe I didn't save it. Okay. Save. Reload. What? Okay. I think I know what it is. Yes, I do. We may have to add it to the anchor tag, not the H4 tag. Okay. Okay. So let's take this out. Let's take the hashtag or pound sign with programs in it. Let's take that part out and let's change it to an A for anchor. Okay, so we have come down here at the bottom. So because that's where we want to apply it to. So I'm going to save it again. And I'm going to click on refresh. There you go. So we got a link in there. So now we have to see if it works. So we got rid of our underline with our text decoration. So I'm gonna click on it and see if it works. There it is. Ha. So the link works. So let me go back. It can also use text decoration as well to actually get rid of the bullets and the numbers on the bullets list. So actually, we can do that right now. Yeah, so this is actually not covered in in the chapter. Oh, leave me alone. But we can actually add this. You can actually do it. So let's do the bullets list. Oh, where's my bullets? So my bullets list is right before right after events. So I want to place it right here. Yeah. So the reason why I do it is since it reads it from top to bottom, I'm trying to do the style sheet in the same order as the content or as the tags that's down in the HTML, a part of the document. So we would have to say use a selector, maybe I think li. I think I have to do li. I believe it's li is our selector. The curly braces and I believe it's called list style type. That type, and we're going to type in none. All right. So we didn't have to use the text decoration on that one. Now, ha 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 ha. Now, if you see what I see, remember on our unordered list and our ordered list, both of them use the li tag. So if we were to keep this the way it is, it will actually get rid of everything. Anything associated with the li tags, it will get rid of. All right, but we don't want that. We want it to just get rid of the bullets in our unordered list. So what we can do what they call descendants, okay, or parent child notation. So what we can do, we can actually tell it to use in the in the ul tag, use the li, and then it will apply it to that li, just to the li or the list items that are actually in the ul tag. Okay, so we say in our ul tag, get the get the selector li and apply this style to it. Let's see if it works. Save as or save. Ha ha ha. Yes. So they are gone. Nothing's there. Yes, so and you can do that with others as well. Say for example, if we did not want, I could take that back because it would not have worked in that situation. Yeah, I was thinking about the same scenario down here at the bottom for when we did our hyperlink. Yeah, down here. Oh, stop it. Let me go back down here again. Yes, but because it would not work in this particular situation, because the take that back, will it? It would have. And I stand corrected, because you could have actually done the exact same thing in this situation, because we could have told it the h4 on the h4 tag, look for the anchor tag, and then apply this style to the anchor tag. So we could have done it in that particular situation. Okay, I stand corrected. So that's one way, instead of actually making two different combining, instead of making two different styles statements, you can actually do just one, and it kills two birds with one stone. Okay. What else can we do? Let's see. Uh, yeah. So your book talks about the tag on page 104 in your book. So you know how sometimes they'll have in like a table or something, they'll have the colors or the rows alternating colors. Well, we can do that with adding span tags to every other bullet. And when it's actually, let's do it on this one. Let's do it on the number, the ordered list. Yeah. So we can actually put a background color on every other. That could start with two. On the two li tag and the four li tag, and to give it, and we can tell it to do a particular color for that span tag, and it will and tell it to do a background color, and it will apply the background color to the span tag, and it will give the illusion that the colors are the colors are alternating between uh, each li tag or each element in that list. Okay, so we got a li tag, anchor tag. Okay, now I'm gonna come. The first thing we have to do in order for this to work, we have to come down here down to the bottom to our unordered list, our ordered list, sorry, ordered list. And we're going to have to add a span tag to the pipe welding LI's tag, and also to the administrative office technology tag. Okay, so I'm going to put these inside of my LI tag. So I got my LI tag, and I'm going to put the span tag. Now span tag has an opening and closing tag, so we have to have it right there, right in between the li and the p, the first p in pipe, and then we come all the way down here to the back, and you put it, the ending tag, right after the parenthesis and before the ending li tag for that particular item. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing as well to the administrative office technology list item. So right after my li tag, my opening li tag, and right before the a in administrative, the capital A, I'm going to put opening span tag. And after the parenthesis on this one, and before the closing li tag, I want to put in the closing span tag. Okay, so we're going to make a style that applies just to the span tag, and that style is going to apply just to those two list items. Okay. Okay, so we have our span tags in our ordered list. Now we're going to go back up to the top into our head section. Let me come down at the bottom. All right, and I'm gonna put this right underneath my style I had for my anchor tag. So right underneath my anchor tag style, I'm going to make a style with the selector of span. Okay, my span. Okay, and because we want to give it that alternating color effect, we're going to tell it to do a background color. Okay, so you say background color colon, and let's do it as, because I don't think, let's do gray. Let's do gray. Yeah, I think gray may show up. If not, we may have to change it. Okay. Yeah. So if this works the way we want it to, the pipe welding over here, an administrative office is going to have a background color of gray. Okay. Let's see where it goes. We save. I'm gonna reload. There it is. Okay, so let's say if you wanted to make it also include number 2, the letters and the numbers in here, then we would have to add the span. We would have to put the span tags in front of the li tags. They come down here. Yeah, so we will have to put the span tags on the other side of the li tags, and it will get the numbers. It will include the numbers as well. Yeah, so let's try that. Okay, so I'm going to take the span and I'm going to put it on the outside of the li tag. So instead of the li tag being first, I'm going to put the span tag first. Okay, so I'm going to change that, and I'm going to put my span tag right here in the front. Now, because we did this, because they're moving or switching them, we have to change the order of the ending tags as well. So we're going to have to put our ending span tag right after our ending li tag, so we can keep them in order. Because remember, you have to take all of this and bring it all into the validator, and the validator is going to give you an error if you don't have the ending tags or the tags in order. Okay, so I got the pipe welding. I got that one in there. I got that switched around. Now I'm going to do my administrative office technology. Now I'm just cutting and pasting. Alright. Okay, now using this way, changing the tags or changing the way the tags are positioned, we should now be able to have a gray background color on our numbers, our 2 and our 4. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to save this and watch it doesn't work. And there's actually another way to do this, but we're going to cover it in a simpler way to do this. We're going to cover it, I believe, in chapter 5, I think. It's where we're going to, it's what they call CSS pseudocodes and pseudo classes, and we're going to do that then. but we want to try to duplicate that illusion without using the pseudocode or the pseudo classes. I'm trying to do the reload. It did not like it. It did not like it at all. You see what it did? So apparently it added 111. We confused it. Cause you see, it started after because you put the span tag in there, it automatically started going back to 1. Okay, so it did not like our span tag that way. Okay. Can I just do a redo? Yes, I don't want to redo it. I'm just gonna do a redo, so I don't want to take all this stuff out. Redo it again. Of course, yeah, I'm gonna have to do it anyway. So let me go ahead and put everything back. Now, because I'm just copying and pasting on here, or cutting and pasting. Move everything back in order the way we had it. Okay, now we have that back. So that span tag did not work on our li tags like we wanted it to. So what we may have to do is we may have to put, actually instead of putting on the span tag, you may be able to use our I do a descending tag or the descendant tag. Okay, let's see if this works. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come back up to the top where our style sheet is, or our style code is, and here I'm gonna put in the descendant tags for our ordered list. So we're going to tell it to look for ordered list, and inside the ordered list, we're going to tell it to look for the li tag. And we want it to look for the li tag that has span on it. All right. And let's see if that gives us the background color that we're looking for. So we'll do a save. Reload. It didn't like it. It didn't like our buttons in there when we did that. Okay. So what I want you guys to do is I want you, there is a way to duplicate that effect without using the pseudo classes. Okay, so if you are watching this video, I want you, for extra credit, okay, or to drop your lowest quiz grade, what I want you to do is I want you to submit to me. You're going to email it to me. You're going to email it to me. I want you to email me the solution. Okay. So without using the pseudo classes, I want you to duplicate the effect of the gray background covering the numbers. So it has to cover the 2, and the gray background has to cover the 4. Okay, so it goes like all the way across. Okay, so like that is for, I'll give you guys, I would drop your lowest quiz grade. for this. If you guys can email it to me, because I'm not going to put a Dropbox for it, because I want to see how many people actually view these videos. I'm going to put, I want you to email it to me with the solution, and I will drop your lowest quiz grade. We'll see. Okay? Now, with that, now let's go over and talk about ex uh, external style sheets. So I mentioned earlier that web developers, they can put their style sheet in a separate file and link that file to their web page. All right, we're going to do that right now. So we are going to, so you'll have to make a brand new notepad file, and we're going to call that, or we're going to call it CSS. It's going to have the file extension .css. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up a brand new notepad. Let's see here. Yeah, open a brand new notepad. I need to have two of them open at the same time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to type in notepad, or click on make another instance of notepad, so I can keep this sheet up, or this file up, this screen up. So we'll say notepad. Good, and it gives me the second one. Awesome. Okay, I'll push that one over to the side too. Okay, so this part right here, this one over here, is going to be our style sheet, our CSS file. So we're going to take our style sheet, our CSS that we've been working on this whole video, and we're going to cut the whole entire style sheet, or styles. You do not need to have the style tags with your CSS, because with a separate CSS file, it already knows that it's CSS, so you do not need the style tags at all. Okay, so we can get rid of the style tags. So I'm going to delete them. Okay, so I cut, and I'm going my CSS from my HTML document, and I'm going to bring it over here to my new document, and this is going to now be my style sheet. So I put all of my CSS, I'll put it in this one file. Okay, so that's all of it. Okay, now I'm going to save this file. I'm going to save it as chapter3.css. Now, just like we had to do before, because we're dealing with Notepad, you have to change the text document box. You have to change that to all files. Okay. And for the file name, I'm going to call it chapter 3. And instead of putting .html, I'm going to put .css. Okay, so now this is going to be our CSS file. So I want to save it. So now we have our separate CSS file. So now we have our separate file. Now we have to link our file to our HTML file. So, and to do that, we have to make a separate link. We have to put a link inside the head section, or inside of the head tag, so the browser will know to go to this other file to get the style sheet, or to get the styles for it. So the link tag If you look, go along in your book, the link tag starts on the bottom of page 105 and goes and goes to the top of page 106. Okay, so to link our style sheet, our CSS file, in the head tag in your HTML file, you're going to put in the tag or the tag link, and you have to tell it what is it relative to. So it's going to be rel, and you're going to say equal, and it's going to tell it style sheet, because that's what it is, a style sheet. So link is relative to a style sheet. So that this right here lets the browser know that what you're linking is a style sheet and not anything else. Okay. Now that we told it what type of file it is, now you're going to do your href or your hyperlink reference, because this is a link. It may not be a link you can click on, but this is a link, so it has to have the hyperlink reference on it, or the href. And this is where we're going to put the name of our file, or file name. So our file name was chapter3.css. This is where we're going to put our file name. So inside quotation marks, I'm going to put chapter3.css. Okay, and this link tag does not have a closing tag on it. You just have to close it out with your angle bracket at the end of it. Okay, and that one line right here, this link tag, this one line here, is going to grab our style sheet that we have here and apply it to our web page when we open it up in Internet Explorer. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's save our HTML file, since we added the link to our CSS file. And I'm going to minimize my CSS file here. I'm going to minimize it, just in case I have to go back and make some changes to it. I'm going to go ahead and minimize it. Okay, there we have. Okay, now when we do a reload, it should look the same, because all we did was we just took our same style sheet we had before, but instead of having it inside of the HTML document, we put it in a separate document by itself, and we linked it to the separate document. So let's see. Okay, so you saw it jump. Okay, that means that, or hopefully it means that it did not, that it did take the link. One way you can check to see if it didn't take it is you can come here, go back to your HTML file that you have, and we're going to comment out, or out that line. So the line is still going to be there, but the browser, when we do a comment, the browser is going to ignore that line or ignore that command, and it's going to read the rest of it. So it's going to reads from top to bottom. So it's going to go through each line, and then it's going to see that comment. It's like, wait a minute, that's a comment, I can ignore that. And it's going to skip that link statement and go down to the rest of the page. So let's see. Okay, so to do a comment, or to make a comment in HTML, first you have to do your exclamation point at the beginning, inside of the tag, or inside of the tag, right after the angled the angled bracket, you're gonna put in your quotation mark, your exclamation point, and you're gonna put it in two dashes or two hyphens. Okay, so that opens it up. That's the opening tag for the comment, and the closing tag for the comment is going to come down here after this quotation mark here, or right before the ending bracket, the ending angle bracket, and you're going to put in your two hyphens or your two dashes, and then close it out. So that is how you make a comment. So with the line, or with our link commented out, it's going to, like I said, it's going to skip that link, and this whole entire page over here on the side, what we have here, should be white. All the styling, all the colors that we made to it should be gone, because it's not going to read when the browser goes to reload our file. This link right here, it's not going to recognize this link, or it's going to skip this link statement because it is commented out. Okay, so let me go ahead and save this. Let's save my comment, and I'm going to reload it. Ha! So it worked. So we still have an HTML hyperlink here, but because we no longer have the hyperlink, they no longer have our link to our style sheet. It brought back the underline on it. Okay, so we know that link worked correctly. So now that we know it linked correctly, we can come back in to our HTML document and take out our dashes, our exclamation point, to bring it back, to take the comment out, and now the browser can see that statement again, and now it'll be able to see and be able to link it, and we'll be able to get all our colors back and all of our styling back. Okay, so I took my comment out. Do a file, do save, and I'm going to do my reload. Ha 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 ha, and it is back. Okay, so my link did work. Now, just like we had for our HTML documents, we also have a CSS validator. And when you are doing your external style sheets, you will have to run your style sheet through the CSS validator. Okay. I believe the CSS validator will take HTML documents, but I have a link to our I have a link to the CSS validator inside of our detour page. So I'm gonna go back to our detour page. I'll go ahead and widen this out so we can see it. And under content, we have under resources. Yeah, there it is. Resources. You have a link to the W3C CSS validator. This is the validator I want you to use when you go to validate your CSS. Yeah. So you can include HTML files with CSS on it, or you can just submit just a CSS. Okay. So I want to run this through the validator. Yeah. So I'm going to run my .css file through the validator. Okay. So I'm going to do my file upload. on browse. Okay, and right here you'll notice the CSS file. You notice the icon on it. It has a little gear. It's a white sheet of paper with a little gear on it. That lets you know, that icon lets you know that this is a CSS document. Okay, so I have my document here. I'm gonna click on open, and watch, I have like a gazillion, errors on this thing. Right? Awesome. So no CSS errors. Okay, so awesome. So I want you to do so. You can also do this with your HTML inside of your with your CSS inside your HTML document as well. So make sure you send your HTML document as well as your CSS document through the validator before you send it to me. Because if you do not, I will take points off for it. And remember, when I send to the validator, each error that I receive from the validator, when I send it through, it will be 5 points off. Okay? Awesome. Yeah, so looking in your book on page 110, it down at the bottom talks about doing centering HTML elements. Back in the day, they used to have the center tag. So you basically just have an opening tag that says center, the ending tag that says center, and it centered everything. Well, that tag is now obsolete. There's some browsers they may still take it, or they still recognize it, and there's some browsers that do not. So to do that, what they are having everybody do is they're now allowing to use the CSS property of margin to move content around or elements around your page using in CSS. So we didn't play with it, the margin, a little bit, but let's real quick. Okay, and this is all done in your CSS file. So I'll go ahead and close up my validator here, and I'm going to split my screen again. Okay, yeah. Okay, so to move or to change the margin of your elements of your HTML file, you have to do it through your CSS file. So so I have my HTML file up here. I have that one open, but I need to go back and get my CSS file and make the changes to my CSS file. So I'm going to move. Sorry, I'm going to move this one over. Okay, there you go. Okay, so now I can see my stuff. So on my CSS, let's move our CCTC here at the top. Let's move it over to the center. To do that, to do that, since we already have a style for our H3 tag that has our CCTC wording in it, we can add the margin tag or the margin property to this style, to our H3 style. So they have what they call margin right, and margin left. The difference between the two is that with the margin left, it actually pushes things over. It pushes things over to the right. With margin right, it pushes things over to the left. And with margin by itself, it actually does it for all four corners, all four corners of the page of the browser window. Okay, so since we want to center this, let's do a margin. Oops. We change that to a lowercase m. And it really depends on how big your screen is whether or not how it is centered. Yes, so because you want to center it, your book shows you auto, the auto element in it, or the auto value, and you can do that. And what that does, has the screen figure out where the margin is. Okay, okay, I want to put this to the left. You go figure it out yourself. Okay, or you can actually put it in directly, and you can put in either uh, do it by pixels, do it by EM, or you can do it by percentages. And you'll see it both ways. There's some people who like to do percentages, and there's some people that like to do the actual pixels. It really depends on the actual designer who's actually making the web page or the website. Okay, so let's see what happens when we do auto. Okay, so we'll do margin left auto, and let's do a margin right auto, just like it has in your book. Okay, so I added the margin right and margin left properties to the H3 tag because remember all the H3 selector is a selector that is using for our our CCTC heading up here at the top. Okay, so I made my changes. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to refresh it. Okay, so see, with I did auto, it didn't move anything. Okay, so that's cool, no problem. It didn't move. But if we put in actual numbers, let's see. Let's do 300 pixels to the right. So 350 pixels to the right. Because remember, with the left margin, it actually pushes it from the left. It actually pushes things close over to the right. And with the margin right, it pushes everything from the right margin. It pushes everything to the left. Okay. All right. Okay. So yeah, with CSS, you can also comment out statements as well. And with CSS, the comment is to make comments is different. In CSS, if you want to comment a line out, you can do just two forward slashes. Sorry, backslashes. Two backslashes. And now in the CSS, when it comes and starts reading all of the styles, it's gonna catch or get to this statement, and because it is commented out, it's gonna skip it and move on down to the paragraph. Yeah, the paragraph style. Okay, so let's see how far to the right this 350 pixels moved it. So I'm going to save it. Ooh. Now, okay, so here, because I have my screen actually split in half, it's not actually centered and it's more toward the right. But if I maximize my screen, my Internet Explorer screen, let's see where it takes it. Okay, so see, now it's not even near because I now have maximized the screen. It's not even close to where it was, and this is why a lot of web designers use the practice of using auto or using the percentages, because with percentages it allows the browser to read the screen or the monitor screen, and it tells it to actually go to say okay, by using this part of the screen, it tells it use 30% of the screen size and put this 30% where it is, and you can go all the way up to 100. And if you went to 100%, then it'll probably be either in the middle or over to the side or somewhat. So you can basically with the percentages, you basically just tell the browser to determine where to put it on the screen. Okay, so okay, so CCTC. So let's try. So I'm gonna come back here because I now have it actually full screen. Since that was 250, that was 350. Let's do 500. Let's do 500 pixels and see how close to the middle it takes us. And this is what you do is when you're dealing with CSS, when you're trying to figure out where to move things, you just play with the numbers and see if you can get your elements or your content on your page set or move it to where you want it to move. Haha, nice. So that's pretty much that's center. Yeah, that's pretty close to being center. Yeah, so that's pretty dead on. That was 500 pixels. So more than likely, my screen here is about 1,000 pixels, maybe 1024, maybe. So half of 1,000 is 500, so it came right here in the middle. Okay, so I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah. Let me see how it looks when I put my screen back to half. And see, when I have it at half, now it doesn't even look like it's centered. But when I maximize it, now it looks centered. So that's like I said, that's one of the reasons why a lot of individuals they don't like using the actual pixels because different screens are different sizes, and you want to be able, and it will look depending on how big your screen is, it's going to look different. See, all right. So since we have 500 pixels, let's try the percentages and see the percentages will actually move it. If we will actually keep it where it is or make it allow it to be centered. So let's say 50%. Yeah, because we want to put it in. So let's say 50%. Okay. I'll do save. Okay. Yeah. So 50% now it actually has it centered. No matter where I put or how big my screen is, it's gonna move it 50% of how big that screen is. Okay, so now it looks centered. Okay. Still looks a little off. I don't know. I'm looking at it here from my and right here it looks like it may be a little off. Maybe a little bit. But let me see what it does if I put full screen. That's still off. Ooh. So my screen may not be 100%. So you may have to put maybe 40% on my screen. And so like I said, depending on the screen size, it may be different on what size, so on how big the screen size is. So did I save it? Okay, so I'm gonna save it, and I'm gonna do okay, yeah. So about 40% put it about half when it on my screen in my office full size. All right, so if I do it this way, Okay, yeah. So I did 50%. So I did 40%, and now when I split my screen in half, now it actually looks like it's 40%. It looks like it's centered on my screen here when I have my screen in half. Okay, okay, that's cool. So that was chapter three. So I believe I did went through everything. So that's chapter three. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, talk to me for a class, come by my office, talk to me for a class, and we can actually see what's going on. You have homework you have to do. That's on in chapter three. I cannot remember what page it is on at the moment. Let me skim through my book real quick. Yeah, I believe it is chapter seven. I mean, on page 120 on number seven. I believe it's the one you guys have to do for homework. And if I am, and I also think you guys have to do the focus on design as well. I'm not sure. Yeah, focus on design as well. However, on your in your D2L, it has it in here. Your homework. So let me maximize this. Let me go to D2L. Go to chapter 3. Yeah. And your homework is, yeah. So you have to do number 7, the externals, yeah, dealing with the external style sheet. And you have to do the focus on design. That's on page, in your book, that's on page 122. So you have to do page on 120, because chapter, yeah, exercise 7 starts at the bottom of page 120 and goes to the top of 121. And then at the bottom of page 122, you have your focus on design. Okay, so that's your homework. I will have that up. Check the drop boxes for the check the website for the due dates. Since I don't have the due dates yet, but check the website for due dates. And I will see you guys in class.